Welcome back to another episode of the Wealthy Woman Podcast. I am beyond excited to have this conversation with a good friend, Michelle Fairburn. Fairburn?
Burn,
baby.
burn.
Okay, as you can tell, this is going to be a very raw and real conversation. We're not holding back. But the reason why I brought her onto the podcast, I'm going to go through a little bio and intro so you guys know who she is. But this is proof that it's never too late, not just to go viral, but to make bank online. Toronto and South Florida-based digital creator, entrepreneur, and a real estate pro who turned her TikTok into a six-figure stream of income after 40. With over 190,000 followers on TikTok, almost hitting that 200K mark, girl, and millions of views, Michelle shows women every day that it's never too late to build a personal brand, create engaging and fun content, and get paid online. So she shares everything. When I first met her, I think I stumbled upon one of your Botox video, which I can't wait to talk about. Her lifestyle and just real talk with her daughter and just fun content that really inspires and just gets your mood lifted if you're online. She talks about redefining, evolving a woman's path, ready to stop playing small. We're just going to talk about fun stuff, guys. So Michelle, welcome to the Wealthy Woman Podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I am a little nervous.
Don't be nervous. First of all, I know the guy just walked out and said, make sure your phones are silent. And I just heard.
Whose phone is that? Who just went ding?
I bet you it's yours.
It wasn't my. Can you turn it off?
See, I knew it. There we go, guys.
Woo!
Okay, so first of all, talk to me. Like, where are you at realistically? Like, how are you? What chapter of season and life you're in? What's your energy like?
I would say, 2024 was a really, it was probably one of the mentally most challenging years I've had, I would say, in the past decade. So 2025, how am I feeling? I really wanted all of that to be over in 2024, but just to keep it real, 2025 has also it's carried into 2025. But how am I really? I'm excited. 2025 is going to be a really good year for me. There's some things that I can kind of like dance around, but I can't say specifically, you know what they are. But we are making a big move this year.
Like location-wise or in general?
Location-wise.
Oh, you're moving to Florida, girl? Are you really, or somewhere else?
No, it's Florida.
You are.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We need to actually backpedal a little bit.
There's so many parts. There's so many moving parts.
We need to backpedal because Michelle and I have known each other for less than 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to share how I know you, and then maybe we can talk and let the audience know how, what our relationship is. But I saw Michelle's video when she was like at 15,000 followers on TikTok, teaching and sharing how her face looks so perfect. And she goes, guys, it looks like this because I just put Botox in my face.
You have to be real.
Yeah. And I just thought, seeing another woman that's like my age, sharing and being so honest, it was like a instant follow. Like, honestly, from that day, I just like followed you.
Is that how you found me, a Botox?
Yeah, it was. You had your towel wrapped around and you were like, let me talk about what I get done to my face so I can look like this. And I was like, oh, maybe I can do that too and not be so embarrassed or shy or have any shame around it, right? So that's how we met. And then we followed each other for a very long time. Yeah. And then I'll leave it up to you to continue that story.
Yeah, so I guess we found each other on social media. We're both young moms. So I think that was the first thing that I really liked about you, was like, oh, because I think it's rare, and this isn't to shit on young moms, because trust me, I have the biggest soft spot for young moms, but I think also when you're a young mom and you kind of grow up, it's hard to find people that share that experience, but also like are still on this journey to like better their lives. And I feel like for me, this chapter of my life, I call chapter 2. And I feel like we're both in this similar chapter where it's like, okay, we've raised our kids and now it's just like 100% about us. Like, obviously we're still moms at the end of the day, but we're building these careers that we maybe couldn't necessarily do when we were younger because we were raising kids. So I remember when you found me and I saw your account, especially with your daughter, I was like, oh, like, I was like seeing myself. That's
I remember messaging you. I remember messaging you on Instagram voice note. And I'm like, we just have to meet because I feel like we're living the same lives with gone through similar things. And I just feel so connected to you. And here we are. And I just want to encourage that. Like, sometimes people feel too far out with like out of reach. But you've experienced that. Like, they're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
A simple DM, a hello, a follow.
Some of my best friends are from social media.
Mine too.
I was just talking to a girl. She lives in Australia. And we've never met in person. And she was like, oh, I feel so like, this feels like so silly. Like we're like sharing our deepest, darkest secrets together in our 40s. And I'm like, no, girl, like, that's the great thing about the internet. It opens up your world. Like these people you might not have in your own community, like physically, geographically, but you can tap into these beautiful relationships that are online. And I feel like they're just as authentic and real as your in-person relationships.
If anything, I think they're sometimes even better because
they're beautiful.
They are, because I
Yeah.
think the version of you that is showing up now is
Yeah.
so different than who you were before. So I
Yes.
highly encourage new
Yes.
friendships.
Yeah.
I think they're just good for our souls, and they're good for creativity,
Yeah.
and they're good for like just a new chapter, like you said.
Yes.
You know?
Which is funny. I was thinking about what I wanted to speak about on here, and I guess it also goes into
Yeah, tell me. There's
I
no
don't know, like-
format.
okay,
There's no format.
Okay, so like, okay, and a lot of my TikTok followers will know this chapter of my life. It was like, okay, for context, for people that don't know my situation, I'm 41 now. I have 2 kids, 21 and 18. So I had my kids. I was pregnant at 19, had my first daughter at 20, and then my second daughter at 22. Was married and divorced all by the time I was 25. Actually, not legally divorced. That took a while, but you get it.
You know, this is like the exact version of my story. Like
No,
exact.
I
19
know.
pregnant, 20 Jasmine,
Yes.
22 Zaid.
Yeah.
Got out of my marriage at 23. So
Yeah.
I got 2 years. Thank God.
And I got 2 baby daddies.
Hey, girl. We're here. Look at us now. Look at this.
now. But so I was entering this new chapter of life, and then along came Huda.
I hope it did something.
Along came Huda. No, so I was entering this new chapter of life, and I really didn't know what that was going to look like for me, because it was scary, because the only version of myself and as an adult that I know is me being a mom. That's the only version that I know. I don't know myself any other way. And so I think when I was entering this new chapter, you know, my eldest daughter was at that time, you know, like leaving the nest for longer periods of time. And I was like, who the hell am I? And I had a lot of people telling me like who I should be and what I should want in this new unknown chapter of life.
Can I ask what that was? What were people?
A lot of people were talking about friends. Like, I need to, you know, like build this community. I also need a husband. My dad was very much like, you need a husband. You're going to get too old. Like, you need to find a husband now, kind of thing, right?
Just never stops. Swear. When you're with someone, it doesn't stop. When you're with them.
That's so true. That's so true. But I think like the friendship thing for me, because I had built this like beautiful little cocoon of a life, right? Where no one could disturb it and no one could like disrupt my life. And then you came along, and because people were telling me you need female friends, like you need to build this community of friends so you can have a life outside of your kids. And you came along with the girls trip, and you were like, oh, do you want to be part of this like what, when I looked at that online, I was like, yes, like that is what my new chapter is. Like my new chapter is having all of these women around me, and that's just like what it is, which we can get into it.
Yeah, I would love to, for reference,
Yeah.
just so you guys know, because I don't think I've ever shared this before, but I own a travel company with my sister, and we created this experience 6 years ago to help women travel to bucket list destinations, right? And I think as part of our business model, we're always looking for women that could serve as leaders and host and to take these women to destinations. And we always find it's like a slippery slope, because I think, and this is perfect for this conversation, because I think people like the idea of it, but they learn so much about themselves. Yeah. And so Michelle and I had a little bit of a situation, which I'm so proud of that we're here and talking about this, because I think as mature big women, we need to address when uncomfortable situations happen and need the time and space to disconnect, to come back. So that's sort of what happened with us. Michelle was hired to become one of our trip leaders for the trip manager. We did this beautiful trip to Portugal, but it didn't go as per what she thought it would be and what I thought it would be. So I'm going to let you share kind of what you learned out of that and what you taught you about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did teach me a lot about myself, because like I said, I was entering this new chapter of life that I didn't know what, I think we're always just like constantly evolving, right? And there's never a perfect like version of yourself that's wrapped in a bow. Like if that is the version of you, then you're not growing enough, right? So and I remember we had that meeting at the coffee shop and you were like, Michelle, are you an extrovert? And I was like, well, yeah, like I can be extroverted. Like I network, I can go to social events, I can be very talkative. Like, sure, I can. Because I can fake it for an extended period of time, right? And then when we got to Portugal, because I'd never been in a situation like that, like I have created a life, healthy or not, where I have full control and autonomy over myself, right? I've always figured out a way to work for myself.
You're a hustler, girl.
I am, but like also just like in my relationships, like I've had these like very controlled environments for myself. So I haven't really put myself in a position where I would experience that uncomfortable feeling until I got to Portugal. And for context as well, like I was in an abusive relationship or marriage in my early 20s. And I think because sometimes I'm like, oh, that was so long ago. That's like 20 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like you should be over it by now. But I think you create this, or I did anyway, I created this life where I literally don't have the opportunity to experience this uncomfortable feeling. So we got to Portugal and I immediately went into this fight or flight. That's honestly what it was. Like I look back and I'm like, I was just, it was because number one, I had no autonomy over myself because I was a leader of this trip. Like my job was to make sure that 20 women, was it 20? 20 plus women had this great experience, and I couldn't, and it's not to sound like a princess or anything, but like I couldn't wake up when I wanted to wake up. Like I had to be on even when I didn't want to be on. And I just felt, I can't even describe it. And I went into this fight or flight mode and I just wanted to fly away. Like I literally just wanted to fly away. And there was nothing that I could do. Like I'm self-aware enough to know that that's what was happening, but I didn't necessarily have the tools to like help myself get out of it. And so obviously you saw the change in my demeanor. I mean, it was like day one, I think, or like day two.
Day one, girl.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, like I can't do this. But I couldn't get out of my head. Like I could not get out of my head. And then obviously you have these like embarrassed, shameful feelings where it was like, oh my God, Michelle, like can I swear?
Yeah.
Like get a fucking grip. You're a 40-year-old woman or like whatever I was, 30, I don't know if I was. It doesn't matter, right? Like get it the fuck together and do your fucking job. Like that's what I was like telling myself, but I could not for the life in me do it. Like I just couldn't. I went to fight or flight. So that's essentially what happened. We had some chats when we were in Portugal and you basically said, you were honestly too kind to me.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I was kind. I didn't know. I've never experienced. But I think I related to you from honestly like a woman to woman level, right?
Yeah.
Because I think you were open and receptive enough to say that I felt shame or embarrassed or guilt, and for someone to recognize that instead of going into defensive mode, because we all have that. I've been in those situations where I'm like, I just didn't perform the way, and instead of running away, taking full accountability is like the path to freedom, because really what that opens up within you is next level. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Other than just Portugal, I wanted to get deep in, because you talked about your abusive relationship and you went into fight and flight. What did you realize about carrying like your older relationship, your trauma? How did that even come about, being in Portugal and having to lead women? How did that relate back to something like that? Like I think you had honestly, sort of like,
I think it was just feeling trapped. Like it was like I just felt trapped. And
because I wasn't gonna let you leave. You couldn't leave.
No, I know. I couldn't. I wanted to get on a flight so bad. I was like, I don't care if I've been here for 24 hours. Like, get me on a plane.
But isn't that crazy how you can be in the most beautiful place, and if you're mentally like,
and also a beautiful experience. Like, take that aside. Like, that could have been a really beautiful experience, just not for me at that time.
Yeah, that's like, beautiful to recognize.
I've actually seen it happen again since I got back with my management company. I was again feeling trapped, but that I kind of went more into fight mode. I didn't really go into flight mode. I went into like, roar, like I'm going to fight you on this. So I feel like, here's the thing.
What did Michelle learn?
What did Michelle learn? One, I need to put myself into more uncomfortable situations. I do. Because I think, luckily, I have created this life where I don't need to be uncomfortable. Actually, two things. Because I don't want to like shit on myself and just say, oh, like you need to, you know, do better, be better. Yes, I do. But also I think I need to listen at my core who I am and not what other people are saying I should want or should be. Because I do think, you know, as women, we're all, like I said, we're always evolving. Doesn't necessarily just happen at 40. You could be leaving a job, you could be leaving a relationship, entering something new, and people are always going to have an opinion on what that should look like for you. And if you've never walked a walk or walked a path, you don't really know. So you're like, oh, well, maybe they know better. Maybe they know what I should want, what I should need. So you listen to a lot of outside voices. But I think I always knew that wasn't going to be me. I've never been an overly social person, ever. Like, I'm pretty much a homebody. Like, that's just not who I am, right? Like, sure, a little burst, but I think I knew always at my core, like, that isn't what I would want. And even now, like, it's funny because female friendships I do think are still so important. But for me, I'm never going to be a person that just loves to, like, hang out. That's just not my thing, you know? Like, I want friendships that are purposeful, that I feel like, again, like I feel so obviously with social media, there's so many different voices to tell you like what's right, what's wrong. But I think friendships you should be gaining something from a friendship. You know, just to have a friendship, just to have a friend, like, no thanks. I don't want that.
And also, where's the time for that?
Yeah, who the hell? I was just having this conversation with my daughter yesterday. I was like, who the hell has do you
I don't do
things?
Well, also, like, I don't remember
understand.
when was the last time I hung out to hang out. Like,
No.
hanging out, and not to shit on anyone again, because I think I have a lot of beautiful friendships too. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if there's a birthday, there's an event, there's a purpose behind it. I'm attending, I'm going somewhere. But gone are the days where in my 20s where it was just like, hey, you want to meet up and do what? Like, now I can't even think because there's a million and one things to do. But I think what's really nice is, I think through what I see through that experience and what you're sharing is listening to that inner voice that we never listen to. And that's like the journey of life, because every step of the way, every age, every chapter, there's a new formed policies, guidelines, things that people tell you to follow, and you're constantly navigating against that, right? Like, even in our 40s, I feel like you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, you're supposed to do this.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
Oh, right now? Okay. No, like I was thinking about what I want to talk about, and you're so right. Like, as women, when you turn 40, you're like this Mother Hubbard woman that isn't so, like, so many people come onto my TikTok or my Instagram. Instagram is especially mean, but TikTok.
Mean.
Instagram people are mean. They're cutthroat. They're really mean. But they always come on and they're like, oh, well, you don't dress like a 40-year-old. You don't talk like a 40-year-old. You don't act like a mom. You don't act like a 40-year-old. And I'm like, well, I am a 40-year-old and I am a mom. And this is how I act. And this is how I dress. Like, I don't know when, and I used to get really upset at those comments. No, but what I found is when you get upset at comments, it's usually because you're unsure of something yourself, right? And so I think obviously when I was entering this new chapter, just like any chapter, like you're unsure. I was unsure of like, oh, maybe I should be dressing differently. Maybe I should be acting differently, because I don't even know why, but.
Because
now,
you feel like you're different, but not different it's not being shown as different in a positive way. It's like you're just.
Yes, but I think now, and I'm only into like a year and a half into this new chapter of my life, but I feel like now I'm so sure of myself. When I see those comments, I'm like, they just roll off, because I'm like, no, like no one should be telling you what you should act, what you should dress, what you should be like at a certain age or any certain time of your life. And in saying that, when you are 40, here's my point, okay? People are always saying,
this is my
second podcast, guys.
This is just a longer TikTok. That's all it is.
People always say that in your 20s, that is the time to take risks, right? That's the only time you should take risks. And I freaking hate that narrative. Like, it pisses me off. It really does, because then women get to their 40s and they're like, well, it's too late for me. What the hell?
I think you're like the perfect example. And that's why the episode is going to be called It's Never Too Late, because that's exactly what happens. There's so much pressure on the 20 to 30. You gotta be 30 under 30. You gotta start that $1 million business. You gotta be beautiful and look like this. And 20s take all the risk. And then you're 40 and almost you have like a midlife crisis, but almost a reset, I'd like to call it, to look at your life, what you were like in your 20, 30, take all of that and figure out what you're going to do in your 40s and raise the bar. But I think what's happening is there's no bar being raised at 40. We're not normalizing the success, both internally and externally, that comes with turning 40. How you reset yourself and how you change. And it's okay to change, you know? So I think 40s is a new chapter, but I want to normalize how beautiful this fucking chapter is.
Oh my gosh. I know. I wish women in their 20s and 30s knew, like, because it's so, when you're old, you think 40, oh my gosh, it's so old. But I'm literally just getting started.
Well, yeah, I want to talk about that because I do feel like you're just getting started.
Can I drink my big ugly water bottle? Sorry, I'm getting parched.
I know you're on like that fitness journey. I see you working out every day. I see it. How's that going, by the way?
I've lost 4 pounds.
How fucking hard is that 4 pounds to lose?
Oh my, at 40, that I will say that is true. Okay, what they say is true. So true. So hard. I'm on a caloric deficit. Like
everything. So you got to put everything to the wall. Whatever sticks.
No,
but yeah, it is
so
a challenge.
Hard. It's really hard.
The physical changes are real. Like they really are.
Very real. Everything just kind of falls and puffs.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I got my hair extension scheduled. I got my lash scheduled. Need some Botox.
I have my Botox follow-up tomorrow. No, can we talk about how expensive?
Yes, I was just... Oh my gosh. I have like $1,000 a month just to be with a
I'm really glad
woman.
that you say that, because sometimes when I'm like, mine is genuinely like $1,000 a month, if you average it out, I'm like, that's fucking insane.
It's so bad.
Why?
I mean, as someone that talks about wealth, I must say, like, you know, I do feel good investing in myself because I do want to look good. And I'm not talking about look good, feel good, all of the good. I want it all because I do want to feel great. So I do want to get my Botox done. I do want to go for a massage. I do want to, you know, get a nice outfit. I want to spend money on vacation. But 40 is expensive and maintenance is fucking ridiculous. That's why we need to make more money.
No, 100%. Or I just need a rich husband.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because there's this whole era of, can we fucking calm down and stop working so hard? Like this was never.
I don't want to though. This is the thing. I always think.
But you do though. You do.
No, okay. Sometimes, no. If I actually had that thought in the shower this morning. I was like sometimes I feel like I'm so in my masculine energy. And obviously TikTok shoves masculine, feminine energy.
Your energy is very feminine to me.
You're
like a girly girl, but I know you.
Is it?
Like you make the dollar, you do the thing. It is that masculine energy is more like you're gonna run the show and you're gonna make that money. But I'm talking about like just masculine versus feminine. You give off a feminine energy.
Because I am a lover girl, and I need everyone in this room and God to hear that I am ready for my husband. Okay? No, actually, I made my vision board. So last year it was the year of the money. That's what I called it. And this is the year of the husband.
Okay. Well, I do want to start a wealthy men chat.
Do you?
I do. I seriously do. I do want to bring
it the two and have dating, speed dating sessions out there.
I do want to bring on wealthy men, and then considering who I've had on the podcast, kind of matchmake them. But no, I want that could be a thing. But going back to, I kind of want to let's talk about your TikTok journey. Yeah. Because I think that's like a big part of your life and also how you were able to build something out of nothing. So let's rewind back. I know we talked about your relationship a little bit, which I still want to talk a lot more about. But can you talk to me about what you were doing before TikTok and how did TikTok I even step in that era? Like, were you someone that wanted to share this? Talk to me about it all. What were you doing before?
Oh, it's a long story, but I'll try and make it as short as possible. And I think it's always funny to like see where you are at a certain point in life and then realize everything has led you to this point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, so I did get baptized in 2017. So I became a born again Christian, right? Which we talked a lot about our faith. And I had this direct vision from God in 2018. And it's really funny to see because now what I do is exactly the vision that I had in 2018. So I was in church and I was praying and I had my eyes closed and I had this vision. And it was like there was no one else in the church. It was just me facing the stage of my church. And God said, I did not put you through everything that you've gone through to not share your story and help others. I have that written on a planner from 2018, right? But at that time, I didn't really understand what that meant. And I remember, like, I'd always kind of wanted to share my story especially with my abusive ex-husband, which we can get into. But my kids were obviously a lot younger at that time. And because my story is so intertwined with their story, I wanted to be very respectful and, like, not share something that they weren't ready for. Because if I share my story, then their friends are going to know, oh, that you're talking about their dad or her dad, my youngest daughter's dad, right? So I did have a conversation with them at that time and said, like, this is the vision that I got.
Yeah, this is what I meant to do.
Like, whoa, right? And then my kids were like, no. You're not gonna embarrass us on the internet.
It's a lot, yeah.
So I was like, yeah, okay, I respect it. And then fast forward to 2021. The pandemic obviously happened, and like 70,000 other people, I became a realtor.
Wait, what were you? Yeah, well, I was just gonna ask, what were you doing?
Okay, so before that, so my eldest daughter is an actor, successful actor, so I managed her career for a really long time. Because obviously if you're a child actor, you're a minor, you have to have a guardian on set. So that's kind of like what we did. We were like a traveling circus for a really long time. I did so I went to school for marketing. So I did marketing for like smaller brands during that time, but nothing like ever, like I didn't have like a steady 9 to 5, because if I had a 9 to 5, like I did try to do the whole corporate world thing.
You can't.
I think, yeah, like, who am I
I'll
kidding?
just tell you.
Who am I kidding? No. Actually, my old boss from like my one corporate job that I had, he reached out to me on TikTok because he has a band. No. And he was like, can you promote my song?
Are you serious?
Yes, he did. No, but I loved him. Like, I loved him. He was crazy, but he was
That's
like
hilarious. Can you promote?
No, he did. I was like, I don't know if it aligns with like the music that I like making. Anyways, but so yeah, I was doing that. I was a director of operations at that company. I did marketing for a ton of smaller brands right before the pandemic happened, because my daughter had turned 16 at that point, which means she can be on set without a legal guardian. So that opened up my world, right? And so I was like, well, I'm going to open my own agency. So I paid this guy in India.
That's where the problem starts.
And actually it's even funny because I saw one of my clients in Thailand randomly in January of this year. So I was like, I'm going to start my own agency, but I'm going to do it for diverse talent, right?
Okay,
so
brilliant.
it was like people of color, people with disabilities, like, like whatever. So I had this guy in India create this really cool website for me where production companies could go in. They could be like, okay, I want someone in a wheelchair, right? So they'd like filter it to that, and then they would hire my talent. So that's what I was doing before.
Yeah, because that's what your experience was.
I was having meetings with like all these production houses around Toronto. Like I really thought this was going to be like my thing, right?
What was it called?
Ruli Talent.
Okay.
RULI. Ruby. RU. My daughter's middle name. My youngest daughter's middle name, and then Ruli, Li, Sterling from my eldest daughter's middle name.
Okay.
Anyways, I would go to George Brown with flyers, like handing them out. Like, be my talent. You'll get $250 a day. Like, it was like a legit business, right?
I like it still.
I think it could. If anyone wants to steal it, go ahead.
But there's no money in film production, so.
No. Like, honestly, I wasn't meant to do that, clearly. Okay. But that's what I was doing. And then the pandemic happened and everything shut down. So, like, there was my business gone bye-bye, right? And then, and then I decided to become a realtor. Oh, what were we talking about? How I got into TikTok?
Well, I did want to know how you started. Like, what were you doing before TikTok? So that's like great reference. I didn't know you did that.
That was right.
So you had your
agency
pandemic for how long? Like, did you even get clients? Were you?
No, I did. Like, no. So when I was in Thailand, this guy came up to me. He was like, "Hey, like, you are my agent." I was like, "Oh, what?" Anyways, him and his girlfriend were there. I know, it was so funny. Like, I actually had people that I was sending out on jobs. So that was like what I was doing directly before the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened. I was doing like COVID testing for commercials, like
Oh, cool.
whatever.
Okay, so then what happened with the realtor thing? Was it just like, hey, I should become a realtor?
So
Give me
here's
freedom?
what happened.
You saw Selling Sunset.
No, worse. Okay. I got into personal finance YouTube, and YouTube, Personal Finance University on YouTube. That's what I did. I realized I was a mess with my finances. So at the start of the pandemic, I would literally watch like 8 hours of YouTube videos a day on money at the start of the pandemic. And I was like, okay, I need to downsize so I can save money to buy a house. That's what it was. Because I was like, I think at the time I was spending like maybe $2,600 on rent, which back then was a lot, right? Now it's like, wow, that's such a steal. But before,
I know. I was just thinking about that.
it was a lot of money. So I ended up getting this realtor, and he was the one that was like, why don't you become a realtor? And I had nothing else going on at the time, okay? So I was like, yep, sure. That sounds great. And that's what I did. I did it. Yeah. I think I completed the course in like 5 months.
So that was 2021?
That was 2021.
Okay.
Became a realtor. And then everyone, because I don't really have a huge personal sphere of people, this is like a lot of people get into real estate and they're like, oh, they are going to be on Selling Sunset the first day of. And it's like, newsflash, that is not going to happen for you. You know, unless you come from like a wealthy family and everyone's suddenly going to use you, you know, but that's not the reality.
The sphere of influence, like what if you have none?
Exactly, which was me. I didn't have anyone. So everyone was like, well, why don't you just do social media? Get your clients from social media. I was like, yeah, okay. So I opened a TikTok, and that's how my TikTok account started. It started as a real estate TikTok.
No way. I did not know that.
Did you not?
No.
Yeah, that's how it started.
I had no clue. I saw some personal finance when I went down, like deep down.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that's like how you started. This is so interesting. Okay. So now you're on TikTok. Now what's happening?
Okay. So I was on TikTok. I was doing real estate.
Were you scared? Like, first of all, what was it like? Was it just like, I'll just come on TikTok versus Instagram, or?
Yeah, well, I heard you could grow faster on TikTok. So I was like, okay, let's go. Like, I need an income here. Let's do this thing.
But social, you wanted it to grow to just get real estate
I was strictly thinking real estate. And then I want to say within like 2 months, it became a family TikTok.
That was really quick. What do you mean?
I don't know. Like, I look back and I'm like, I maybe did like 5 real estate videos. I was like, forget this. I don't want to do it.
But you had more fun. So what did you realize? Were you having fun just creating these videos?
Here's another thing. I was always meant to do this because even when my kids were like, okay, not to be like that gross person, but like my nature is a momager. Let's not forget, okay? Like I'm freaking Kris Jenner here or whatever her name is, right? Okay. But we could talk about this because I think a lot of people like immediately think that's so bad, but you ultimately have to work with the cards that you're played with, like you're given.
100%.
Or else what the hell are you doing? You know, like use things for your advantage. So when my kids were little, I always made them do YouTube channels because I loved editing the videos. We would do like science experiments and like make volcanoes, and they were called the T-Dot sisters.
Oh, how cute. So it was always in you.
I love editing. Like I was a really creative kid. And then obviously when you become a mom, it's like, it kind of stops for a little period of time, right? And I think this is also like another important thing is like, if I could go back in time and do things differently, like, yeah, I feel like I was in survival mode for so long that I didn't necessarily have the privilege of keeping hobbies and like being an individual outside of being a mom. But I think I was always creative. So I feel like this has always just been in me. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to know what happened after you got on TikTok. So like you started creating videos.
Yes.
What did you start? Because I find your content, for those of you that don't follow, I'm sure you're going to follow her right after this episode. But it's exactly who you are right now. It's fun. It's engaging. And how did you figure out what to post? Because I think post and for what? Like, you know,
So I always did it with the idea of making money.
Okay, I love that.
I always knew that I could make money on it.
Okay, how? How do you make money on TikTok?
Okay, well, number one, I knew that I had a unique life. Right? I knew I had everyone has a unique story. That's the truth. But I think I always knew, me being a single mom, I am like conventionally attractive person, which unfortunately does play a part on social media.
I love that you're being honest.
Yeah, no, I think it's important to be, because I also know where my not flaws, but I also know where my downfalls are, right? But I don't use those. Those aren't the cards I've been given. I use what I have been given, right? I also knew that just like me and my kids were this unique dynamic that would be fun to watch. So I always just, that's kind of what I did. So yeah, originally I started it with the intention of money. I told everyone on TikTok, I am doing this to make money.
I've watched a lot of those videos. Yes. I was like, it became a part of like my experience with your account. It's like,
People
I need
want
to
you
see,
to win.
I need to watch this girl make money.
Yes.
So,
No, because I also follow other TikTok accounts and they're like, yeah, like same thing. Or I want to get to X amount of followers. And I'm like, yeah, girl, like I'll be here rooting you on. Like people, the internet can be a really negative space, but it also can be a really positive space. And I think generally people want you to win. You know, there are haters, but
I think if you build a community
that's what
around you, they're going to get you there.
Rally behind you.
They are. They're totally like, they're like a little beehive just buzzing around you and working towards you, but involving them and making sure that they're heard is what it is. So how did you, okay, so number one, you knew you wanted to make money. I love that.
Yeah.
Number two, you knew you had a unique story and voice, and everyone has that.
Yeah.
Number three, how did you get past the fear of being, did age matter at all? Because I knew at that time, especially during COVID, like I know it was a lot of like Gen Zs and a lot of like dancing. How did you figure out what you wanted to share, what you wanted to post about?
I think it was like an organic evolution. I didn't really know at the beginning. And I remember at the start of the pandemic, we, like if you put in my name, you can even find the account. I don't have the login or anything, but it was me and the kids just doing like trending audios. And I remember they used to speak in TikTok, which if you're on TikTok, you know, like you can speak in TikTok. Like there's this whole underground language, right? And I remember my kids
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Okay, you're not on Planet TikTok.
No,
enough.
I am not.
But my kids used to always speak in like TikTok, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, guys. And I banned them from speaking TikTok, which is really just like trending audios, right? Like I can't even think of an example.
Okay.
If something happens, you'll say like a TikTok trending audio.
Oh my God.
No.
Wow. So
It goes deep, right?
That's crazy.
And so I was like very anti TikTok in 2020. And it's funny to see in 2021, I like fully went into it. What was the question?
I was like, how did you, okay, so we talked about how you started.
How did I decide what I'm going to post?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, organic evolution. That's what I was saying. So obviously I knew I had a unique life, blah, blah, blah. How did I decide? I just started posting. And this is the thing. People message me every single day. Even one of our mutual friends is asking me every day. And it's not nothing that I haven't said to her. It's like, you just need to do it. Like you can't overthink it. And I think that's one of the things, like not to toot my own horn, but the reason that I'm like good at what I do is because I don't think too much. I don't know if it's like a trauma response or whatever, like, you know.
No, but I would say that's like
I don't think, I just do. You know, like if I have an idea, I just do it. And I'm not scared to, one, look like I'm trying. I'm not scared to fail in public. I'm not scared to look like a fool because nobody's paying my bills.
Yeah.
Literally nobody's paying my bills. And I think also confidence comes with the reps. Do you know what I mean? Because
Repeat that, girl. Repeat that again.
Confidence comes with the reps. And it truly does, because I remember at the beginning, sure, I was okay recording like just by myself, right? I used to even tell my kids to like leave the room. Now I can record anywhere. Before I was scared to record in public. Now I'm getting paid. Like I will be out in freaking Times Square. Nobody's going to block my blessings. Ever.
Okay, how did you build this confidence? So someone else is sitting there listening to this and thinking like, I wish I had that confidence to do that.
I don't think it's confidence. I don't think, again, it's confidence comes, you have to do it unconfident. You have to do it, you just do it. Like the confidence isn't going to come until you do it. Just like people think, oh, I have to wait for motivation. No, I'm sorry, but I want to say stupid, but it's, and then that's not to shit on anyone, but it's like, oh my gosh, like sometimes I wish I could throttle people.
Yeah.
Because that is not going to, like, you just have to do it.
No, you know what
just
else
have
I
to
like?
do.
I like that you're sharing. It's not a strategy. Like, sure, you wanted to make money
Yeah.
online. That was the goal. But with content, you're like, I just had fun. I did
Yeah.
it. I did what. Would you, for people coming on, or wanting to try this content game?
Yeah.
And are a little bit later in their life, maybe, and their kids are older, or
Yeah.
they're just feeling creative. Would you share or tell them to start with like beauty or lifestyle or their life, or like what should be a
Yeah.
TikTok strategy if you had to
I would say
make
like
one?
even though there wasn't so much strategy in the beginning, it was kind of like, you know, when you like throw pasta at the wall to see if it sticks. That's what it is in the beginning, and I think it evolves into a lot of strategy. Like now there's a lot of strategy that goes into what I do. But here's the thing. I think, okay, let's say, for example, somebody wants to be a beauty influencer, or let's say like she wants to do outfits, OOTDs, right? There are so many people on social media. You have to differentiate yourself. And the only way you can do that is by showing up as you, right? You can't be like, and here is my outfit, because 1,000 other people that are better looking than you, honestly, or like and have a more aesthetic house or whatever, are going to be showing up and doing the same thing. The thing that makes you unique is you. And I think, honestly, in order to be successful on social media, I think you have to share your story. I don't think there's any other way around it. You can't just show up and be like, here's my pretty outfit. Nobody cares. Literally, no one cares.
It's so funny because those same influencers and creators, and actually her and I were talking about this too, is that they were so in demand because all you wanted to do was look like them, feel like them. But now if they don't have substance and if they are not sharing what they've gone through or their story, you could care less to follow them.
Even in realist, like any industry, even if someone's not wanting to be an influencer, like I think gone are the days of just like fake shit.
Yeah. Totally. Real is in. Thank
like
God.
Even thank God. Even realtors that just are like, here's this $2 million. It's like, first of all, you're probably not even selling that $2 million house. You're probably selling $500,000 condos. Like, let's be fucking real.
Love it. So true. Especially in our industry. We're not going to get into real estate because I want to stay away from real estate right now.
But like, I'm just saying, anyone in any industry, like show up as yourself. Know that you're going to be doing it for, I always tell people, a year. Like you have to show up and work for free for a year. And if it's not working for you after a year, sure, quit. Yeah. But if you're giving up on month 1 because you don't have a brand deal, like you're not.
Yeah, I want to get into that actually because I want to know when you started making money and all that good stuff. I also wanted to say, for me, because I was such an Instagram person, that when I came on TikTok, it felt like
they're different planets.
Yeah, and it also felt like I could just breathe because I could try whatever the fuck I wanted and not feel so pressurized to show up a certain way. I know we talk about this. Instagram is like business and TikTok is like just let your creative juices flow. I really like TikTok for that, and the growth is a little bit different and the strategy is different. So I was going to ask you, did you realize, was there a turning point in your TikTok account where you were like, oh my God, this shit is growing and like now let me put some more thought and energy into creating this brand? And what was that number, or what was that moment like?
Like follower count or like
everything? Like when was it like, oh my God, this is a real thing? Like I know you started with the intention, but when did it really become?
I want to say about a year ago when I signed.
What? Just a year ago?
Yeah.
But you were like...
These things take time.
But you were out there pushing. Like, I'm talking about when did you realize that this was...
Oh, a viable source of income?
Yeah, a viable...
I always just knew.
Okay.
There wasn't... I like I said, I didn't go into it just for shits and giggles. I did it always knowing that I was going to make money from it. Because I'm very much a person that sees someone else do it. And I'm like, okay, well, if they can, obviously I can. Yeah. And why not me? Why not me? Other people are doing it. Why not me? But I think, obviously went into it. I remember we got our first brand deal in Florida. So that was the end of 2023. This pill company paid me like $1,000 to do a video. I would never have taken that pill in real life. I was
You're honest.
Things are
What was it?
different
What was
now.
the pill?
I can't say.
Okay.
I can't say.
Okay.
But it was definitely not something I would take. Like, I'm like a freaking hippie inside. Like, no, thank you. I'm not going to be taking that. But I was like, sure, pay me $1,000. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to rebuttal that. How do you feel about someone saying, hey, like, you are one of the influencers that's promoting something but not being real with what you're promoting?
No, because back then I was new. And I think every influencer goes through this where it's like,
trying to figure out.
You're trying to figure it out. But I think I don't think there's anyone. Maybe that's not true.
Hey, I've done the same thing.
I mean, that's the
part of. I don't think there's anything to hide because you're figuring out. First, the money attracts you because you're obviously waiting to make that money.
Exactly. And so when someone brings it to you,
yeah,
like,
when that deal comes through, you're like, well, this is what I waited for. Till you're like, you know what? I don't want to work with this person. I do want to push this. I don't want to do this. You get to know yourself better. It's part of the fucking process.
Exactly. It's part of the process. And anyone that wants to go into it, know that you're probably going to be faced with the same. I wouldn't even call it a dilemma because honestly, I wasn't even met with a dilemma back then. But now I am where I'm like, oh, now I can kind of like pick and choose a little more. Do you know what I mean?
Let's go back to your first brand deal. So that came through. They paid you $1,000. What happened after that? What did that start
So it wasn't
doing?
like a snowball. It wasn't a snowball. I remember that was like $1,000. After that, I did some brand deals like for $300. But I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm being paid because I know if I can get paid $300, then I can get paid $3,000. I can get paid $13,000, $30,000. Like I knew that if I could make something, then it's working, right? It just needs to grow. Then I signed with my first management company.
Okay, can I rewind back?
Yeah.
Before you signed with a management company, what does a brand deal look like? What does that mean? And if someone's listening and they're like, I want to make money off of content, did you pitch brands? How do you work with a brand? Break down the process a little bit.
And this isn't what people want to hear. Because
they want to know.
No, because
like brand deals. How the fuck do you get a brand deal?
Yes, no, people ask all this time, but people don't like this answer.
Okay.
They don't like this answer.
Okay.
Because everybody wants to hear how can they make money the fastest, today, right? And I think if you want to value yourself as a creator and you want to be in this for the long game, you have to probably have another source of income to carry yourself through. Because
were you doing that too? Real estate was that?
Real estate was the thing. Obviously, we went to Florida with savings, but like when I came back, I was back into real estate right away. Brands will reach out to you in the beginning and be like, oh, here's $300 to do this brand deal. Now I look back and I'm like, $300, what a joke. Like that was crazy for me to say yes, but I didn't know any better. So I think that was like one of the good things that management showed me is like how much I can actually charge for a brand deal.
When you got your first brand deal, how many followers did you have?
I think we had around 60 or 80,000.
Okay.
Like it was definitely less than 100,000. But I have a friend who just got 10,000 followers and she's like, okay, when can I make money? And I'm like, not now.
You gotta wait your turn.
Like not now. So here's the thing. Okay. Brand deals will start to roll in, but I think you could, okay. What am I saying? Because, okay. For me, if you're going to value yourself as a creator, you need to just like, and I had a conversation with one of my, Valeria Lipovetsky.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love her.
I didn't have a conversation with her. I do love her, but her husband had a phone call with me. And I want to say this was about a year ago. And he had a phone call with me. And I was basically saying what everyone asked me is like, okay, I want to start making money. Should I be pitching brands? What should I be doing to like increase? It was before we went to Florida. So actually it was
because no one shows you the way. It just looks like something online and you're just sitting there wondering how this whole thing works.
How to do it, how to make money. And he said something that I tell everyone the same thing. He's like, your focus shouldn't be on the money. It should be on creating the content because the money will follow. If your content sucks, if you're not consistent enough, you're not going to make the money. You can pitch 1,000 brands, which I've tried to pitch brands. Dynamite, bless their heart, are the only people who have ever worked with me from a pitched brand. And I still have a relationship with them to this day. They're a really great brand. But every other people that I have pitched, they've never been like, yes, I want to work with you. All of my brand deals are inbound. Every single one of them. They're inbound brand deals. And how that comes about is you create the content. For me, it's 2 TikToks a day, 1 Instagram a day on a consistent basis. I'm always improving. And I just and work on strengthening my brand, and then the brands will reach out to you. So I think a lot of people, they'll get to 10,000 followers. They'll want to start making money right away. It's just not how it works.
Yeah.
It's just not
okay,
how it
so when
works.
did you decide that there was something called a management agency? Can you walk us through that process? Because I don't even think people know that that's what happens when you reach. Does it happen when you reach a certain level?
It does.
Okay.
I want to say, like, when you reach that 100,000 mark, you're going to get a lot of agencies reaching out to you, asking you to be part of them. I've been with 2 management agencies now. And here's the thing. Again, I'm a control freak. Like, I am a control freak, and both management companies, not to shit on either of them, but both management companies never really brought me brand deals. Really, all they were doing was managing my brand deals. So I will get in. This is how it works. For me, you can actually put your manager's email in your bio, but I've always had mine because I want to have that control over that. So I will get, let's say L'Oreal. L'Oreal reaches out to me. Okay. First of all, please always make sure the URL is l'oreal.com, because if it's something fat table 6945 at gmail.com, it's not L'Oreal, okay? Like, it's not L'Oreal.
Double check that email address.
So yeah, the email will come to me. They'll say, this is the scope. This is how much we want to give you. Or sometimes they will just ask for your rates. I will vet it. Then I will forward it to my manager. My manager will then respond. They'll negotiate back and forth. And then that's how it works, right? So
they're like the middle person that will help you negotiate a better deal, but you're already kind of a creator that's getting inbound deals. So, but would you say it was a great experience being on that side? Would you stay with a management company? Would you recommend creators to go with a management company?
I would say it really depends on you and your life. For me, content creation is now like 90% of my income. So I have the time. I also have now the knowledge, which, to be honest, I wouldn't have had if I didn't have the management company. So I'm super grateful for that, because now I see like what you can actually charge as a creator.
Can you give us some rates? Like base it on, I guess, the amount of following and what you didn't know, you wish someone told you.
Well, here's what I didn't know is the video itself, you'll have a set amount of a dollar amount. So let's say you're getting $5,000 to create the video, but what you get the most amount of money for is the usage, right? So say they want 30 days. Okay, now it's $2,000 every 30 days for them to run ads on that. So if they want to run ads for 6 months, then you've got $12,000 just from nothing.
Damn.
Right? No, it is. It's really lucrative. And I would say, honestly, it really varies brand to brand. Like finance, personal finance, they pay really good money. Beauty, they pay decent money. I think that's all I've really worked with is like beauty. Beauty brands love me because obviously I look younger than I am. So,
and also like a brand new market that they're also trying to
older. Yes.
Yeah.
I know, it's funny because I follow other creators that are around the same age as me now, and we have like this really cool
community.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I was gonna be like, where are the? Because I went actually on TikTok the other day to search for creators over 40. I found you and maybe 2 other women that I know, and that was it. The rest it was just all.
There's a lot of space for you. If
yeah,
you
there is a lot of
here,
space. There's a gap here that I think really can be filled. I was going to talk to you. Let's talk a little bit more about the money side of things, and then I want to start asking you some secrets on building a viral brand if you had to really do it all over again. So talk to me about the money in content. What's the biggest brand deal you've done up to date, and how much was that worth? Because I think you've openly shared that on your TikTok, and I love that you share that.
So the biggest one I did was for a finance brand, and it was $18,000.
For what?
Just a video.
That's it.
Yeah.
One TikTok video.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fucking insane.
I know.
So what does that mean? Do they continue working with you? Do they?
I mean, I would love to work with them again. If you see this video, I would love to.
Hey, you never know.
I actually
opportunity comes from all.
Before I parted ways for my management, I was like, if they want to work with me again, I'm here.
That's too funny. But okay, so $18,000 for the most paid video content you've done.
Video, yeah.
Okay. What about anything else? What other types and what type of income do you, if you're comfortable sharing, are you able to make with content on a monthly basis?
So on a monthly, I'll tell you right now, in signed contracts for this month, I've made $20,000. and we're not even halfway through the month. But I'm not going to say every month is like that. Like, I want to be very
because that sounds
transparent and authentic. Like the last quarter of 2024, I think I did 50,000. So
I think you shared that.
I did. I shared that. Q1 was a little bit tricky for me because obviously I was going through this thing with my management. So that was like a little bit tricky. But I will tell you, I'm projected to make over 200,000 from content this year.
So that's like a great income just from content.
It is, and that's small. That's not.
I know.
That's
I heard
not a lot.
And would you say those are, what kind of brand deals do they look like? Because when I look at your content, I don't see no brand deals in there. And I love how seamlessly you integrated. What type of, can you give us an example of a brand deal in your content and what a brand deal looks like in terms of content?
Okay, so
what did this finance company want you to do? What did the beauty company want you to do?
It really varies. Like, some will give you, okay, here's another thing that I will say. No, first I'll answer your question. So, okay, brands vary. The finance one that I did, they were very specific about what they wanted. They had a lot of edits, like a lot of back and forth, blah, blah. They had a very specific script. Like, I could write the script, but when I was speaking, I couldn't even veer off the script. Like, even if I said it was very, very specific. Do I love that? No, I don't.
That's the control part.
I don't love that really that much. But then there's other brands, like I just did one this month and I had like free creative control. They didn't even really ask for much. They're like, okay, just do the video and submit it. Did it. They asked for a few different overlay texts, but not really many changes.
But what is the video? So let's say if it's tell me about a brand deal you've done in the past.
No, I remember. Okay, here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to say, and this is my issue that I have with content creation. I hate saying influencer, so I always say content creation.
Yeah, I like creator better, honestly.
Yeah. But okay, there are two different types of creators, I feel. And I spoke to you about this. There are people that will just push the products, and then there are people that are more focused on their brand as like a whole, and that is where I fall. So I never want to be this. I don't want to put commercials on my social media. I won't do that. Like right now, I'm working with a brand, and on the Zoom, they had all the creators that they had picked, which I was like, wow, I'm in a room with these people in a virtual room. Like, that's crazy. Like, some of these are my favorite creators. And the person that was running the Zoom was very specific. Like, we love you. We want you to have free creative control. Like, sure, there's a few things that we have to hit on the videos, but they're like, we do not want this to sound like a commercial. So I personally love that. I don't want to do a commercial.
I think those are the smartest brands. I think those are the smartest brands. Like, hiring you for you is what's going to sell, not what you're trying to put together in a pitch.
No, sometimes I like, not to shit on Canada.
Yeah. Also, are these Canadian? Talk to me, because a lot of people talk about the Canadian creator economy being shit.
I feel like it is a little shit.
Okay.
I do.
Just a little
I feel like it's a little shit in the sense that you have to like fall in line. You have to be very palatable. You have to push products. Like, that's basically what we are. We're product pushers. And I know people will watch this and be like, well, I don't do that. It's like, okay, cool. But
you're not going to make the 200K.
But no. But I'm saying, like, there are big creators in Canada. I'm not saying that. But it's just like, it's very different. I feel like America looks at people as a brand. Like, they're buying into you as a brand. I look at I'm like, where are your brand dollar, your spend dollars, whatever you call it, ad spend dollars? That's how you want to spend your money. The video's getting like 1,000 views. What are you doing? Why waste your money? Mm-hmm. Why waste your money for some person that doesn't even have a personality to create this video for you? Like, I don't watch that. And clearly other people don't watch it. I don't know where the disconnect is. I don't know why people aren't going into these brands and telling them, like, you should be doing it like this, because their money would be really better
So
spent.
Are you working with, what are you working with, Canadian brands or US brands?
Both.
I'm sidetracked too, because I want to ask you so many questions, but I'm trying to think of.
Are we all over the place? How are we doing?
We're on TikTok presence. It's all good.
Yeah.
What are some ways you can monetize on TikTok? So we already talked about brand deals. Is that the only way?
That's the only
brand deals are the source of income when you're a creator, correct?
Yes, and I think for Canadian content creators specifically who are like, oh, we can't make money on TikTok, you have to remember, sure, we can't tap into the creator fund. So we're not getting paid per view. But in the US, the people that are making bank are getting it through brand deals. Like no one's, I'm sure they're getting, something from the creator fund. But most people, when they make a lot of money, we're talking like, 500,000 plus, it's because they're getting brand deals. It's not from the creator fund. So yeah, number one for me is, number one and only one is brand deals.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you were very clear on that when you started. Okay. I want to talk about building a viral brand or building a brand now with everything that you've learned, right?
So I'm getting antsy. I'm like
no,
a child.
I know, me too. I'm just like trying to sit properly here and my feet are fucking freezing.
Where's the blankets?
That's a good touch. Maybe next time. No, but I was going to say it's great, when we started off, or you started off, it's like, listen, I tried everything. But let's say we're talking about a really smart person listening to this that's got a unique story that just haven't shared online, and they're going in with this completely as a business strategy and saying, I want to be a creator, I want to make money. Based on your experience, what would you say are some of the tips or like even secrecy to building content? We're talking about, are you batch recording? Should you think about what to do, post twice a day? Give me the breakdown of what you would do and how you would build it.
I mean, if I could go back in time, I would have done things differently.
Okay.
I think I could be much farther along if I did it how I'm doing it now. So you will have videos that go viral, obviously, right? And that brings the people in, and then you have to keep them by some other piece of content, right? Or they're just going to go away. So for example, obviously if you go on my TikTok, it's mostly, excuse me.
We're nice, graceful women here that just tend to burp and other things.
It's mostly me and Amoy. If you don't know who Amoy is my daughter. Now we have a registered business. She is co-owner of the business. But for a very long time, I fought us doing videos together. They were always the videos that went viral, but I was like, no, God give me this message. I need to share my story. There needs to be purpose in what I am doing, right? And I fought it for a long time. I remember one time I even made this big announcement on my TikTok. I was like, from now on, you're only going to see me. You're not going to see any more family content. I don't know. It just felt like a crutch, right? But those were the videos that always did well. People love to see me and Amoy specifically together.
And you were fighting that natural.
I was fighting it so badly. But then what I have come to realize, okay, it's called the 80-20 rule, okay? 80% of your videos should be you repeating what does well. Just repeat what does well. And as much as you want to fight it, you're like, no, but I want to do this. I want to do this over here. And the people are like, no, but we want this, right? And you're like, no, but I want to do this. And they're like, no, give me more of this. And it's such a battle because they're not necessarily the same thing, right? But I think right now, I think it's also important to identify what season you are in your content creation journey. Right now, for 2025, we are in growth, right? So what that means is 80% of my content is going to be me and Amoy. People think that me and Amoy are just like gallivanting 24/7 together. It's like, no, like this is a strategy for growth. We know what does well. We get in that car, we do our videos, and then we
so I was going to ask you, so what is your schedule now? Are you both like, okay, we're pushing out 2 videos? Are you writing down your topics? Are you suggesting that?
Can I touch on the 80-20 first?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so 80% is that repeating the videos, because that is going to get you the viral videos. That's going to get people into your pool of people, not necessarily your community, because your community are more people that are going to buy into you, but it's going to get people into your pool, right? And then 20% of your videos are going to be like your value add, the thing that you want to do, right? That is going to be your purpose online. But so your 80 people are coming here, you're feeding this 20% content over here. Not everyone here is going to like that content, but the people that really buy into you and your brand is going to be through this 20%, right? But you can't do it the other way around. It's just, especially when you're in a growth period, like I feel like once you have like 1 million plus followers, people care about you, right? No one's going to listen to you until they care about you. And that's in anything. They have to know, like, and trust you, just like we talk about in real estate all the time. It's the same with any kind of brand. They have to know, like, and trust you to like buy into the shit that you're selling them, you know?
Yeah.
So that is what we do. We do the 80-20. What does it look like when it comes to creating the content? So yeah, me and Amoy, we do 2 TikToks. She has her account now, so she's almost at 100,000.
Wow.
I know.
Damn.
I know. I know. So I'm almost at 200,000. She's almost at 100,000. And then our Instagram is at 61,000, I think. So yeah, we both do 2 TikToks a day, 1 Instagram a day. Every month we do a strategy at the first of the month.
2 TikToks posting or recording every day? Are you batch recording? How are you doing content?
That I don't think, like, I'm sure it works for some people where they're like, okay, on the weekend, we're going to batch record everything. But also I think it's important as women to like understand our cycle, because that really does play into how I can record content. And every female content creator that I know experiences the same thing. Like where we are in our cycle, we're going to have more energy. Sometimes I don't want to fucking record. I'm like, I just want to like be on my couch watching Netflix. I don't want, like, there's no way I can go on a camera and be this like on, because I think with social media, like you're a version of yourself, but it's like not who you are every day.
And you're very honest about that too, which I really like. So
No.
you talk about the fact that, like, guys, this is not me all the time.
Yeah.
I treat this as a job and I treat this and I have fun with it.
Yeah.
Is that
100%? It's also the version of me when I'm with my kids. Like you can even see when I record videos by myself, it's a different side of me, you know? So like fun me with my kids isn't going to be me when I'm in like a different environment. So anyways, all that to say, how do I record the content? Sometimes me and Amoy are super, you know, like in the groove, and we'll go in the car and we'll do like 10 videos that day just because we're, you know, on fire. Or sometimes things just happen organically where you can take little clips. You can take like a piece of content and make like 4 different clips with it. So I don't have like an exact recording schedule. I have a posting schedule, but I don't have a recording schedule.
I have 2 questions. We're like so over for this podcast, but I love
it. Know. I'm like slowly dwindling away.
I know. Last 2 questions. First question I want to ask was, okay, if you could share how to go viral, because a lot of your videos go viral. Yes. Let's say that is the purpose. Yeah. Are there any tips and tricks on? Yes. Because I know.
It's actually
it's
really
the hook.
Funny.
It's this. So like, what is it?
Even Amoy knows now. So like, I recently posted a video, and Amoy was so sly with it. I was like, wow, I'm so impressed with you.
What is it?
We were in the car, and we were like having a genuine conversation. We were setting up to do like one of our like mom and daughter chat videos, but we had it recording. We were just doing lipstick, right? Like our touch-ups. And we were talking, she was like, oh, I can't believe I'm turning 19, like in July. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't either. And then she goes, yeah, what were you like at 19? And I was like, oh, haha, like in jail, getting pregnant, like, I don't know. And it was so funny. That video went super viral, right? We just took that little clip. And then after, she goes, I did that purposely. She set me up.
Oh my God.
For the clip.
So sneaky.
I was like, go girl.
She knows.
Go girl. So here's the thing. You obviously, your content has to be a little unusual. Either it has to be controversial, very valuable, funny, traumatic. People love trauma on the internet. It has to be something that's going to grab somebody's attention. So like, for example, when I do the dancing videos with Amoy, sure, I can dance better than that, but I'm going to dance like a little extra silly in order to get the video to go viral. Not all the comments are going to be positive. People are going to be like, oh my God, you can't dance. And it's like, okay, well, thank you for your comment. Like, thank you for making my video viral, because now I'm getting paid more. So I think it's just like finding what, really, it's just finding something that people can talk shit about.
If you want to be real about it, then yeah.
No,
I mean,
genuinely.
You have to be unusual. You have to be controversial, not for the sake of being controversial, but truly believing in what you're saying, not just to go viral. And the more you create, the more viral video content, there's a possibility of it going viral. That's what I've realized too.
100%.
And the more you create, the more those opportunities land. Yeah. Okay, so we've talked a lot, and there's so much. I feel like I need to have you back on a whole episode about relationship and like the whole ex situation, because we need to get real. Yeah. But I'm going to finish up with 2 questions. So one would be, if you could go back to the version of you just starting on TikTok and starting with creating, what would you say to her?
Ooh, I would say, I would say, one, have some things that you're not going to share. I think that's also really important. I would say it's good to have something for yourself. So for me, that's romantic relationships. But at the beginning, I was sharing all of it. And so I think having something for yourself, because otherwise you can feel very naked. You can feel very naked, and that doesn't feel good. You have to have something for yourself. Number 2, share your story. Share your story right away. I think everybody wants to share their story in some way. It's nice to be heard. And sharing your story is how you're ultimately going to help other people. Everyone wants a community. Some people think their experiences are so unique and isolating. And when you get online, you realize, no, there's so many other women or people that have gone through the exact same thing, and they're just searching for people that are like them. And that, I think, is really beautiful, and that's how you build community. So yeah, sharing your story, keep something for yourself. And if you're going to treat it as a job, you need to put in the job hours. You can't put out one video every, 3 weeks and expect to make money. You have to clock it. I don't think I've taken a day off since I started. Genuinely, it's not like I'm working 10 hours every single day, but in some capacity, I've worked every single day on my brand. I take it seriously. I take it like a job, because that is the outcome that I want from it. Please, for the love of God, if you want to do something, stop talking about it and just do it. Because that is, people are like, I speak to people at my church, like younger people, and I just want to be like, just frickin' do it. Because you can talk about something. Like, I ban words in my house, like should, would, could, try. I hate those words. Like, it's so fake. It's fake, and it's like a floppy, it's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless. If you want to do something,
you discredit yourself
you
too.
do. It's like lying to yourself. It's like, it's not a promise.
Yeah.
It's not comforting. It's not strong, Just do it. If you want to do something, do it. Don't be afraid to look like you're trying. Don't be afraid to fail, and just do it. The confidence is going to come, and you're going to get better at your craft, but you can't just say your way into something. Yeah. It has to be through action.
I want to end off with a question that I ask every woman on this podcast, and that is, what does living a wealthy life mean to you now?
I knew you were going to ask this question.
How did you know?
I don't know. I just did. I figured, a wealthy woman. First of all, I love the brand, and I love that I saw on one of your Instagrams yesterday, you were like, oh, it always comes back to community, and I can see that in you. It always does come back to community, everything you do, even real estate, which I think is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But for me, being truly wealthy for me is freedom. That's always what it comes down to, is just freedom. I need to feel free, and I feel like every woman should feel free. This is God's green earth, and to just box yourself in, whether it's a relationship, a career, geographical location, anything. I just feel we deserve to be free. We deserve to feel free, and we deserve to have lives that facilitate us to be free. And I just think we truly deserve it. So for me, it's freedom. It's always been freedom.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. That was Michelle Fairburn on the podcast. It was lovely having you. Thank you for sharing all of the laughs and all of the conversations.
This was fun.
Today, you can follow her at
Michelle Fairburn.
Till next time, guys. Ciao.
Bye.